Years ago, the miners had to work on Christmas Eve, but would only work on Christmas Day in the case of an emergency, such as a fire, flood, an explosion, electrical or mechanical breakdown, or even a bad roof fall, any one of which could result in a brother miner being either badly hurt or even killed. It would take a very serious incident to keep a miner from his family on Christmas Day. The song that Billy McPherson is going to sing for you now tells how a group of present-day miners cope with having to work on Christmas Day. Incidentally, this song was written by a former member by the name of Polly White. But before Billy sings, I'd like to tell you a true story that happened to me many years ago on Christmas Eve. In 1954, at age 20, I was transferred from Caledonia Colliery, where I had worked for the previous 3 years, to number 20 Colliery. Now, Caledonia was a very old colliery with horses pulling the boxes that the men loaded coal and stone into with great big pan shovels. Whereas number 20 was a modern mechanized mine, using 125 horsepower locomotives to haul men, coal, and materials in and out. And the locomotives were equipped with radios, whose receivers could be heard for great distances throughout the mine. Number 20 also had fully mechanized advance and retreat longbow faces, with the coal being won by Dosco continuous miners. The coal in Caledonia was only about 5 feet high, where the levels in number 20 were up as high as 10 feet, and that was quite a change for me. My story begins late in the 7 to 3 shift on Christmas Eve. We were sitting in the rakes up in the North Landing and patiently waiting for the trip to start out. Now, a rake is a wooden box designed to hold 10 men, 5 on each side, sitting facing one another. And a rake trip consists of 10 boxes or 100 men. Also, you see, I was the oldest of a very large family, and my mother was expecting me to pick up the toys that she had on layaway at the Lipka's toy store. And also, I had to get a gift for my girlfriend Elsie, whom I later married. So you can see I was rather anxious to get going. So finally the trip started out, and I was so relieved, But as we get out maybe 1,000 feet, it suddenly came to a stop. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get home. So I stand up in the rig and I'm shining my light around and I'm being rather obnoxious, An older miner was sitting across from me and he reached over and he got me by the coat and he gave it a tug. And in a stern voice he said, sit down, shut up, and put out your light. When an older miner spoke, you listened. So I sat down and I put out my light and I huddled up in my coat, and as I looked around, everybody had their lights out. We were in total darkness. It was very eerie and deathly quiet. The only sound was the hum of the cold, frigid air whipping by my face. And then suddenly from the dispatcher's radio, I heard him say, they're all stopped there. Gosh, that meant that the other 2 rakes were stopped also. I said to myself, 3 rakes stopped in this cold motor road. What's going on? And then as if by cue, the lyrical tenor voice of Mortimer Art Kipping sailed across the airwaves, singing Silent Night, Holy Night. I couldn't believe it. There we were, 300 coal miners, huddled together on this cold, damp roadway, 5 miles out and 3,000 feet down on the Atlantic Ocean, listening to this famous hymn on Christmas Eve. It was so beautiful. I felt a chill go up my back and goosebumps start breaking out all over. I was totally overwhelmed. This was a Christmas Eve I'd not soon forget. Just as Art finished singing him, the older miner who had scolded me earlier leaned across him with a smile and said, Merry Christmas, son. And I didn't know what to say, so in a choked voice I said, same to you, sir. And then as we were starting out, the voice of the dispatcher boomed across the airwaves saying, Merry Christmas to all, and to all, have a good night. Thank you.
All came through on Christmas Eve. We had to work next day. With our livelihoods in doubt, we had to go. They said times were hard and costs were high, coal sales hard to find. We'd have to celebrate Christmas in the mine. Johnny cut his coal tree, oh, we took it in the mine, making sure that Christmas didn't pass us by. For anyone who wondered why was a sight to see. Miners singing round that Christmas tree. Tinfoil from the lunchbox made tinsel for the tree. All the Pepsi cans shone bright as any star could ever be. It made me think of yesteryear when times were very hard, as we celebrated Christmas in the mine. Johnny cut a small tree, but we took it in the mind, making sure that Christmas didn't pass by. For anyone who wondered why was a sight to see. All miners singing round that Christmas tree. We dusted round that small tree to make it look like snow. Someone wrapped a box, took a rope and made a bow. Candy wrappers twinkle bright with every movement of our life, as we celebrated Christmas in the mine. Johnny cut a small tree, but we took it in the mine, making sure that Christmas didn't pass us by. For anyone who wondered why was a sight to see. Miners singing round that Christmas tree. Johnny cut a small tree, and we took it in the mine, making sure that Christmas didn't pass by. For anyone who wondered why was a sight to see. Miners singing round